The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Earnestly Podcast. I'm host Earnest EJ Christian, coming to you on a late Thursday night here in South Florida on live view now as we preview the Divisional weekend in the NFL. Of course, Zack Degenerate in a couple of weeks. Zack, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, man.
We haven't spoken in a while, a couple of weeks, man. I mean, schedule's been kind of shitty. Both of our schedules.
I know. I think the last time we talked was probably the last time I slept.
And, of course, we haven't spoken a couple months since our NBA over-unders. Makes his return. Krizmanic with us. Kris, what's up?
How you doing? Doing great.
Oh, man. Before we started recording, you had mentioned about Mike Leach getting the job at Mississippi State. I had swore that Mike Leach actually had signed an extension with Washington State before he made the move today. I swore that happened. But, yeah, that's a pretty ballsy move, I guess.
Well, I mean, Kris? I think they had him as, like, the fallback plan. You could tell, and they kind of fell back on him. I don't know why they didn't make the move months ago to help him in recruiting. That's the weird thing. Like, you wait till after recruiting. That's how you know, like, a desperate move. I like the move. I think if you're going to be a cellar dweller in the SEC, you might as well take a risk on someone like him. So
yeah,
I would like to see, especially how his offense is going to translate into the SEC, whether it's going to work against high-end athletes. With him having high-end athletes on his side, I think it'll translate well.
Yeah, I was right here. He did sign an extension on December 5th. He signed an extension on December 5th, 2019 that went through 2024. Yeah. That's insane.
They're going to be paying quite a bit of a buyout. But...
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But, jeez. I mean, I'll give him this. The guy's entertaining as hell.
He's a good coach, man.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
The record speaks for itself.
Coach. He's an average coach.
Why is he average?
Yes, average. How many times do you really believe he'll have a shot at even making the playoffs?
Oh no, you think Alabama's on the way down now?
Alabama's not on the way down. LSU's not on the way down. Georgia's not on the way down, and neither is Florida. All right, so the best he's ever going to see is competing for the 5 seed in the SEC.
No, whereas Mississippi State was just like number 2 overall, like 3 years ago with Dak, and Dak was not that great in college.
that was with Dan Mullins, who's now at UF.
Doesn't matter.
The reason why he took this job was because he tried to recruit that same quarterback to Washington State. So that's the only reason why you could envision him leaving Washington State this late in the cycle to go there. But if I'm him personally, and my goal is to win a championship, isn't it easier to win one in the SEC or in the Pac-12?
Well,
how many teams are really going to compete in the Pac-12? And he has no problem recruiting California, so.
Right. Well, Zack has a point there, to be honest with you, because the Pac-12 is a lot weaker than the conference. But, I don't know.
At the end of the day, he took a Texas Tech team who hasn't done shit since. I mean, they had Patrick Mahomes who couldn't do anything without him. He had them in relevance in Texas's heyday, and then went and turned around a 1-11 Washington State team who had just fallen off the face of the earth and brought them back to relevance. Had 2 9-win seasons and 11-win seasons. He's a good coach.
I'll give you this.
How did he do this year?
This year he went
6-7.
No,
6 games.
I'll tell you now. Hold on.
I'm telling you, 6 games.
That's the answer for real?
Yeah. He went from being 11-2 2 years ago to 6-7 last year.
Yeah, but that happens at a smaller school.
Okay, so
he's right.
If it happens, then you can't brag about when he's winning.
Well,
yeah, but the thing is,
I mean, he won 11-2
bad
2 years
coaches
ago.
can never get that team out of the hole.
I mean, Zack, he won 11-2 a year ago, last year. He's had a good string of winning seasons in Washington State, 9-4, 8-5, 9-4, 11-2. So
Let's see. That's with UCLA down. Oregon was down at one point because they had lost their coaches,
True.
so they were struggling at a point. You had no USC. USC was constantly going through
mediocre
turmoil.
at best, right?
Who was he competing against? Stanford
Washington.
and Washington and maybe Utah. That was it.
No, you got a point. No, it's a good argument. I agree.
You're going to a big boy conference, and you can say he's going to be able to recruit better athletes, but there aren't that many better athletes than those that come out of California.
I'll tell you what, he'll make SC very interesting and entertaining because the guy is a nutcase.
Yeah.
You think it's easy to get kids from California to go to Pullman, Washington? Like, come on.
Oh, yes. Yes. If you look at the top 30 high schoolers from California, they all left California this year. They didn't go to USC. They didn't sign with UCLA. They left the state entirely.
Yeah, they didn't go to Pullman, Washington, though.
They went to Oregon.
Yeah, the home of Nike. The home of Nike.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The
Have
home
Nike,
of
a lot more attractive
30
now.
alternate jerseys. Like, in the age of vanity, they have 800 alternate jerseys. That appeals to kids.
Yeah, Oregon's not a national brand, but they do have a name now. Like kind of like Clemson right now. They're not a national brand, but they have a name. You know? So, wow, we spent 6 minutes talking about Mike Leach. Who would have thought? Anyway, on to divisional weekend. Before we get to the picks of the week and all that, a couple of things I'll talk about on the pod. I want to discuss the future, not just Tom Brady, because obviously there's two quarterbacks right now who got knocked out last week in the wildcard round. Two quarterbacks that have decisions to make, both in their 40s, both future Hall of Famers, first ballot, arguably top 10 for one, definitely, in my opinion, number one, at the very least 1A, 1B all time. Tom Brady. Let's start with Tom Brady first. Obviously, the shock of the week was the Pats losing in the first round. I mean, if you knew football, maybe not so a shock. But the Patriots go down the wild card round. Lots of questions this offseason. Zack, I think you and I spoke a little bit on off the record about the Pats in the future. What do you think Tom Brady does? What do you think the direction the Pats should go in? What's your thoughts on Tom Brady and the Patriots going forward?
I would say unless the Patriots are willing to pony up $30 million a year for like 2 years to give him, the dividends of 20 years of winning, he's going to leave, and it's either going to be San Diego or I think Chicago, one of those two teams.
Chicago, really?
But you have to look at what's out there where he could say, I can go there and win right away. So with Chicago's defense and a confident quarterback, they're certainly Super Bowl contenders. And then when you look at all the studs that the Chargers have, wouldn't you pull out Rivers in a heartbeat to plug in Tom Brady?
Well, I mean, and the Chargers have a decent roster, I'd say. So
yeah, they have a really
as
bad
far as their
offensive
wide
line.
receivers, I would say Tom Brady's quick release can make up for some of that, though.
I think that's more scheme than this quick release.
your thoughts, Kris, on the whole narrative of the Pats and Brady?
I don't believe that Tom Brady's going for this like Kobe contract that like he wants to end his career making a shit ton of money. You sacrifice up to this point, I think he's willing to do it again. I don't think either one of these guys are going anywhere.
You mean Belichick? You mean both Belichick and Brady?
No, I meant Brady and Brees.
Oh, we'll get to Brees in a second. Yeah.
Yeah, Brady, I think he stays. I mean, there's nowhere else he's going to go. Well, you figure they have an up-and-coming offensive line, young left tackle they drafted who's a good player. You have weapons. I mean, they just drafted their first wide receiver ever in the first round in the Belichick era. And he was coming on a little inconsistent. You feel like that's going to change in the second season. For whatever reason, wide receiver is such a big, uphill climb from, college to your rookie season. Why, I don't know, but there's this wall that all of them hit. So I think until Harry gets better, you still have Edelman there. They're going to make moves. I think this is the first time he flexes for them to – I think he's forcing Belichick to make trades he doesn't want to make because he's going to have to get a playmaker for him in some sort of fashion. Maybe Gronk comes out of retirement. Who knows? But at the end of the day, he's not going anywhere. If one of those, nice, sunny Southern California teams were to be, Super Bowl ready, Jimmy G had some, catastrophic injury, he could just walk right into the 49ers. Yeah, sure, I could see him going. But I think San Diego, they had a fledgling fan base. Every home game's a road game. Granted, that would change if a guy like Tom Brady showed up, but I see them too many pieces away from him to leave New England in a winning situation. Damn, they were still Miami went away from being the number 2 seed, and having a bye week.
Right.
So it's not like they had a bad year. So I just don't see any situation looking better than what he has.
Well, no, it wasn't a bad year. It's funny, we're discussing the Patriots, the death of the Patriots, come up with 12-4 year. And by the way, they won more games this year than last year. And last year won the Super Bowl. Now, granted, yes, schedule, blah, 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 whatever, you get that. But I think the wild card in all this, guys, to be honest with you, is really Josh McDaniels. If he takes a job in Cleveland or wherever he goes, if he decides to leave and commits to leaving like last year with the Colts, I think that might change everything. Because I can't see Brady wanting to go with another OC again at age 42 going to 43 next year. If McDaniels leaves, then I think that's where maybe you can say, okay, Brady may not come back next year. But if McDaniels stays, then I think the odds of him staying in New England do increase. I think he stays in New England. I think the odds are he stays in New England because I just don't see if the Patriots let him go. Unless they can get a. I've been saying guys say Cam Newton gets available or Andy Dalton, some of those mid-tier quarterbacks now that can just drop into the system. Then it may help a little bit, but they don't have a plan right now in the immediate. So even if you bring back Brady, you still have to draft a quarterback unless you're really convinced that Stidham is your guy going forward.
I think you underrate Jared Stidham.
No, I like no. I love
high school.
I love Stidham. I loved him in college. I loved him in Auburn. He was great.
Oh my God, you guys watch him in college?
He was good.
That kid was garbage half the time.
Really, Zach? Really?
Yes. Oh my God, dude. Pull up his game logs. He was straight hot garbage at times.
Zach, you remember, Bill Belichick won 11 games with a guy who never started a game in college. So, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Granted, he had a lot of talent.
And he also had a better offensive line than.
Yeah, and a lot better talent, too, also.
He's going to be a great offensive tackle. He's played 3 games in 2 years.
Matt Castle
There's a better chance he's out next season than he is playing a full season.
And Matt Castle also had Randy Moss and Wes Welker still coming off the 18-0 year.
Yes.
Yeah, so people forget that. That's for the record. It's the same exact roster, pretty much on that side of the ball. So, but I do, like I said, I think the wild card here is Josh McDaniels, what he does. He's interviewing with Cleveland tomorrow as is recording. So we'll see how that goes. But odds are, if you ask me, gun to my head, what happens with Brady, I think he's back one more year. I think the Pats load up like they did in 2007, load up 1 year, grab a free agent if they can, and go from there. As for Drew Brees, it's funny because both guys are in the same spot here. Both guys, over 40. Brees being 1 year younger than Brady. But yet, because Tom Brady is the bigger name, and he's taking all the oxygen out of the room, we're not thinking about Drew Brees. Now, obviously, people are probably saying, well, the fact that Brees is likely to come back anyway, but we don't know that. All 3 of the quarterbacks are free agents. I think Taysom Hill is restricted. But you have Drew Brees, unrestricted free agent, Teddy Bridgewater, unrestricted free agent, Saints, again, fail. I'm not saying it was Brees' fault because he played better this year at the end of the year. But if you're the Saints, what do you do? Kris?
This is the most intriguing thing because I think Drew Brees stays, and you can't say no to him.
No.
But does Teddy stay one more year knowing he's going to back him up? I mean, he turned down some decent money last year to stay, so I don't see it being any different. I think Teddy's going to stay because he wants to inherit that situation. You're inheriting arguably the best wide receiver in the game. You're inheriting one of the best offensive minds in the game. Like, it's a great situation. Why would you want to leave that? I think Taysom Hill, with his injury concerns, like, he'll never be a starter in the NFL. I mean, that's just, he's always been a novelty guy.
What injury concerns?
What do you mean? He blew out his knee like 18 times in college. Are you kidding me? Like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a million times he got injured at BYU. Like, that guy has the most fragile body in the NFL just because he hasn't done it yet, because he hasn't been used any. If he was ever in some full-time role, you'd have to worry about himself.
He plays during the most contact time of a game, kickoffs and bunts. Like, that's when more guys get concussions than any time.
He used to. They've softened that up tremendously.
You just called the guy fragile, and if he's playing in that position and not getting hurt.
He's getting, 40 snaps a game max combined from all of his roles? Not a lot.
Right.
Trust me.
I do think what Kris says is a great point, because I think there is more to gain for Bridgewater staying in New Orleans another year because of what he could and will be inheriting in the event Brees retires after next year. Because Brees already said he's not retiring. He already said he wants to come back. Because you're getting the best receiver in football, you're getting Alvin Kamara, you're getting also Sean Payton, arguably the best offensive mind in the league right now. So
Sean Payton's the selling point right there.
Yeah, exactly. To me, he's a douchebag, but it doesn't matter. He's a smart douchebag. So I think with Bridgewater, if I'm Bridgewater, and not only that, they pay him pretty good as a backup. It's not like he's getting shit money. He's getting good money, and
he's the highest paid backup in the league.
Oh, by the way, they need him this year. Remember, Brees missed 6 games this year, and what are they going 5-1 without Brees?
6-1, I believe.
Yeah. So again, Bridgewater proved that he can. Bridgewater could probably leverage more money as a backup next year, given what he did this year. So I don't know. Zack, your thoughts?
My thoughts?
On Brees.
Brees will return.
Mm-hmm.
Brees will return on a 2-year contract where, it's a team option in the second year or a player option in case he decides to retire. Hill will be the new backup quarterback, and Teddy Bridgewater will be taking over in New England.
Whoa!
Listen, Brady is gone if he doesn't get big money. He took a pay cut this past season, and he got no tight end of any value. Essentially had only Edelman at wide receiver because you couldn't count on Gordon when he was there. You always had that fear. And you trade for Sanu, who, I'm sorry, the man played with Jesus, so how much longer is he going to be on a football field?
Mm-hmm.
There aren't those weapons for New England. I can understand why Brady would certainly be thinking of leaving, and unless they paid me what I truly deserved, he's going to leave. And that's why I believe Bridgewater is going to be the next quarterback there.
Now, folks think that we're back on the Pats again, but we'll do it. It's okay. Folks think that the Brady's washed up, and he's not elite anymore, obviously, but he's still really good. I mean, he's still probably top third quarterback in the league. By virtue of his numbers, whatever. You don't go 12-4 without at least having a quarterback to do some sort of the job. But again, it comes down. You think the issue is money with Tom Brady? I think it's deeper than that. I think I think him and Belichick have a very frosty relationship at this point.
Well, yeah, and that frosty relationship is, hey, I kept taking pay cuts so you could build a team around me and we could win. What kind of team did you give me this year? You gave me hot garbage. That ain't going to fly again. I will not take a pay cut to be on a team filled with hot garbage.
Can we just remember that at the beginning of the year, wide receiver was no stack position on their team? And, like, Antonio Brown was not even, like, he was an afterthought, and then that was, like, an embarrassment of riches. So much so that they traded Demaryius Thomas. But then, like, Antonio Brown doesn't work. Then Josh Gordon doesn't work. And then it starts crumbling apart. But you know why Joe Judge got hired, right? Like, he got hired because of all that hype, because of how good the receiving core looked at the beginning of the year, and it turned out to be hot garbage.
Oh, we'll get to Joe Judge in a second, because we're going to grade these hires, all these coaching hires from this week, or from this year, rather. But, yeah, I mean, it's easy to forget that we started the year with that. You're right. You start the year with Josh Gordon ready to go, Edelman, of course, and then they signed Antonio Brown, and, week 1, plays week 2, and then, it crumbles down week to week at that point. Brown has his issues off the field. Josh Gordon has his issues off the field, and everything crumbles down to the bearings. So, yeah, it's easy to forget that the Patriots once upon a time was looked at as the best team in the league by far, and then things fell apart. Literally, it's been like 4 or 5 weeks. So, I don't know. Again, I think Brady returns. I think Brees returns, and there you go. Well, at least 1 more year. All right. A lot of coaching hires this week. This week and also last week as well, too. The big one, of course, I think is in Dallas, Mike McCarthy. So what we're going to do, we're going to grade, I think it was four coaching hires between last week and this week. We're going to grade the coaching hires A to F. Mike McCarthy first, Dallas Cowboys. I want him in New York, personally, just because I want some familiarity. Because Pat Shurmur was trash. Ben McAdoo was obviously trash. I get the Cowboys an A here because I think what the Cowboys needed is somebody that's a disciplinarian, a guy that commands some respect. Now, the question I have with the Cowboys moving forward is even about McCarthy. Is about how much leash is Jerry Jones going to give McCarthy to make decisions. That's the question. Other than that, in terms of McCarthy, what he can bring to the table, assuming he's allowed to do so, I'm going to give it an A. Zach, what you got?
I would give Dallas an A for hiring McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
He was clearly the best candidate out there. I don't even think it comes down to whether or not Jerry Jones gives him authority over the roster. He has a good roster now. I don't see a weakness on the team unless you look at maybe their defensive backs, which you can address in the draft.
Right.
I mean, free agency will make a big difference to see how many holes they have in that team. You have like 5 marquee free agents right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tag them all.
Well, yeah, the decisions going forward, of course, is Dak's contract. What are they going to do with him? Are they going to franchise him? Are they going to give him an extension? You have Amari Cooper. Will he stay? Won't he stay? I don't know. Zeke's locked in, which is good. But, Kris, what grade do you give McCarthy?
That was the worst decision.
Well,
okay. I give Dallas an A for the contract they got him at because they are grossly underpaying a head coach.
Did you see the number?
Especially one.
Amen on that.
He's getting paid less than his last years in Green Bay for this contract. He's getting paid for 2 years less. Half the amount that Matt Rule just got.
Yeah.
Like, he is grossly underpaid. But as a hire in total, I give him a C because I think he's a mediocre coach at best. And I think there were way better candidates out there that they should have hired.
Okay.
But leave that be. I mean, I appreciate that he took this year off to study the game and learn these new age offenses because he was so far behind the times and just refusing to go with the new age, the NFL, and became so archaic that his quarterback hated his guts and he just fell apart in Green Bay.
Good point.
I don't.
Could I ask how great was Aaron Rodgers this year in his new system, the state-of-the-art system?
Well, his running game. I think this year
struggled mightily at times.
But I think the difference with Green Bay this year, and look, they're 13-3. They got a bye week, obviously. I've said all year long, like, they don't feel like a Super Bowl contender, yet they won 13 games. But I think what's different with the Packers this year versus any year with Aaron Rodgers as quarterback is that they actually had a running game. So they were able to balance it out this year a lot more.
Well, the difference was he was missing Devontae Adams, and they don't really have wide receiver depth, so that was crippling. He still had 26 touchdowns and 4 picks. Didn't have a bad year.
Yeah.
I think we'll get to the game situation. I think you guys are grossly underrating how good Green Bay is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are rolling, but it's they had a lot better of a season than you would think. And
Okay.
Matt LaFleur, who never coached before, like, it's a big difference.
Yeah, by the way, Matt LaFleur, real quick, I'm kind of surprised not getting Coach of the Year love. I'm surprised. 13-3.
Because he's a talented team.
Well, I don't know.
They spent a shit ton of money in free agency. I mean,
Yeah, they did.
You can't give them that many props. I mean,
But I will say that the Green Bay, even with that, Green Bay actually won more games than I think anybody thought. Everybody was on Chicago's bandwagon all year long, all season long. The Bears, and
they were a surprise to win the North, but not so much so that he would garner Coach of the Year.
Okay. All right, next coach here, former Baylor coach Matt Rule, now got grossly overpaid, in my opinion, in Carolina this week. Was it 7 years, $60 million, something to that extent?
Yep.
I'm going to give it a B. It's a good hire. He's a good coach. He has a knack for turning programs around, so I'll give him that. But that's all I have. I don't think go on. As an NFL coach, I don't think go on. I can't say it's a bad hire because I don't know that. I can't say it's a great hire because, again, we don't know that either. But based on what he's done with Temple and then with Baylor, he turns programs around. So at least based on his resume, I think a B is pretty good there. Kris, what you got on Matt Rule?
F.
Whoa!
The amount of money he got for a guy who had never proven it at a big school. Like, you can't give someone that type of money. You give that money's reserved for, like, Urban Meyer, for, like, the top of the top of the top, who have proven to win championships, and a guy, just being like a guy like Urban Meyer, his coaching was adaptable. He won that first championship with Ron Zook's players and took Chris Leak and molded his offense to fit his strong suits, and then flipped it and ran his own system when he got his own guy like Tim Tebow in.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter where he was at, no matter what players he had, whether it's Braxton Miller or J.T. Barrett or Cardell Jones, who are all completely different quarterbacks, he melded to their strong suits and won championships in the highest profile places possible. He deserves that type of damn near John Gruden money. Matt Rule
I'm with you on the money.
Took a bunch of subpar programs and got them back into prominence. Like, yeah, Baylor wasn't shit after RG3 left, and they had the whole Art Brown scandal. But that's not, like, groundbreaking. He also lost to the same team twice, pretty much blowing leads in both of those games.
Oklahoma.
Like, that doesn't show, like, holy shit, let's give this guy, for one, 7 years to turn our franchise around.
Right. I'm with you on the money part. Kris, I'm with you on the money. But I think the money plays a part only because I think he leveraged the Giants because the Giants wanted him. That was the Giants' first and pretty much the only option they had was Matt Rule. And the fact that Carolina didn't let him leave they gave him everything he wanted, money, everything, you name it. That's the reason why the money got so high. I think if it was just with the Carolina and there was no other options, I would say he would have gotten significantly less money. But because of leveraging the Giants, all that, that's why the money came to play. But, you know,
I
I don't
have
know.
so many candidates that are still coaching in the playoffs right now. You have guys like Eric Bieniemy who are sitting there who are A, minorities.
Yeah, don't get me started.
B, are from a proven coaching tree.
Andy Reid?
Who was the last guy from the Andy Reid coaching tree that got a job? Doug Peterson.
Won a Super Bowl.
Who won a championship. These are the type of guys that you have to go after. You wait for. You know what? It's not college. You have no fucking, like, people to scout and try to recruit. There's no recruiting season. Like, free agency starts, you have plenty of time to figure out who the hell you want. You can wait 2 weeks till KC either goes where the fuck they're going to end up, and then you go and interview him and make sure he's the guy. Because I hate when coordinators interview in these weeks in between their playoff games, because I just think it's unfair to both, all sides included.
Right.
I like the guys who wait and just say, hey, you want me, you're going to have to wait, because they owe it to the team that's employing them now and gave them the chance to give them all that they have and not be sidetracked by flying privately to a different city to interview with some owner. But
that's a lot of
there
money,
are so many better candidates than Matt Rule. I understand that he ran a more pro type, so that was like you can't just bring anybody that's successful in college over. I think he's a better hire than Lincoln Riley, per se. Like, I think Lincoln Riley's more suited towards the college game. He's a little more gimmicky in the way that they run things. But to throw that type of money at a guy like him when there are so many other candidates out there is absurd. He just hasn't proven it. Had they won the Big 12 and they got snubbed or whatever in the playoffs, that's one thing. But they didn't win the Big 12. He had his moment twice and couldn't beat the same team. Like, I don't know.
Zachary, what you got on the Great Rule?
I can't criticize what the guy has done in college, all right? But the best grade you could give this hire is a C minus. All right, you went way beyond what you should ever pay for a first-time head coach, and then you're coming up with the decision by next offseason of whether or not you're going to keep Cam Newton. So if you choose to walk away from Cam Newton, now you're in a full-blown tear down and rebuild. Why would you pay any coach almost $10 million a year for a rebuild? Like that makes no sense. Second, when you're throwing money at a guy because you're trying to beat another team to hire him, and yet you don't even know how he's going to fit in your system or what system you will run because you're going to have to bring in all new coordinators, again, it does not make sense in the hire.
Do you think...
Otherwise, I think you guys hit every point.
Do you think...
Urban Meyer, if you were bringing a coach, was the guy you would pay. If you're going to go college rank, you had to go Urban Meyer.
I think the problem with Urban Meyer, though, is the fact that the trust, like how long you get to have him, because how long before you start saying, oh, my health is an issue again? How long? You know, he's a short-term option at this point, Urban Meyer, at least based on what he's done in Florida and what he did in Ohio State. He's at max 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but I think college is more taxing as like a year-round thing than the pros are.
Oh, yeah. And then when you look at it, how much of it do you really want to believe was his health versus there's a lot of trouble coming down the pipeline, right? You had the stuff with Zack Smith in Ohio State. You had the 30-plus the rest of players at UF. I mean, stuff was always falling down around him, and I believe that's why he left.
Real quick,
I never buy the health stuff.
Right. We get to the next coach. Is Cam done? Is this hire being Cam's done, or you think they work out Cam?
I think he's done.
Okay.
Maybe they try and keep him for this year to see. Otherwise, to see if he'll fit the system. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think they're willing to let either franchise him and trade him in the offseason.
Okay.
or just let him walk away.
Kris, you think?
He has 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah.
So,
but they do save $19 million. If they do release him, they do save $19 million on in cap room. So.
Yeah. I mean, personally, do I think he's done? No, I think he's a great player. He's former MVP. And that MVP season, he literally had no supporting cast. That's why he won.
I agree.
Because he single-handedly willed that team to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was like the year he needed off to rehab his body and get back. And I think this kind of like notion that he was washed up is going to like reinvigorate him.
Yeah.
You know, spark that fire again.
A full year off, I was saying earlier in the year that I think he needed a full year off. I mean, pretty much full year off. He played, 2 games, that's it? So pretty much a full year.
But it wasn't even that. It was the fact that people legitimately thought that Kyle Allen was going to be the savior and, like, was ready to take the next
How long that lasts? Like 5 weeks?
And then, like, Will Greer, who was, at the time, seemed like a pretty good draft pick for what he got him for, just has not proven it in preseason and or in the little time that he played on the field. So they had no option.
Right.
Like, yeah, can you go back to Kyle Allen? Sure, he's still a young guy. He was still like the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school. Like, I know it doesn't mean anything, but those pedigrees do mean something. Like, those guys are rare. Like, but
That's
I think at this point
you able to go to the pros.
I think you have to give him his fair chance. I mean,
all right. Next,
yeah, you would give Cam Newton this upcoming season and rules offense, but to think that people are saying he's washed up, I don't know if it's washed up, but he's probably on the back 9. Some quarterbacks, yeah, they'll make it to 40, but when you play a position the way he plays it, you're not going to last till you're 40.
Well, that we agree on. Definitely agree on that one. But I think he has a couple more years after them. I think a year off may help him. All right. Next coach here, Ron Rivera, Washington Redskins. Former Carolina Panthers coach. I give it an A because I think it's a culture change needed for the Redskins. What did they say? They no more ping pong tables in the is that what it was? The ping pong table? They got rid of that? Some shit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, little culture change. Subtle changes like that. It can make a big difference. Who knows? Kris, what you got there? I'm gonna say Zack's answer after. Kris, go first on the Redskins. What grade are you giving it?
This is the only one I'm kind of bullish on. I'm gonna give this one probably B plus.
Okay.
Like, it's a good hire.
Okay. Zachary, your Skins.
Oh God, I want to grade this as high as Kris, like giving it a B, but at best I gotta say C plus.
Wow. Why?
Why? Well, hold on. We just talked about Cam Newton. When they went to that Super Bowl, it was because Cam Newton carried that team single-handedly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's not give Ron Rivera a ton of credit, because the season before they made that Super Bowl run, they were talking about getting rid of him. Now he's coming to a team where there's almost nothing on offense. You have a left tackle who will not play for the Skins again. You have a right tackle who, how he's a Pro Bowler, I have no idea, when he's one of the most penalized right tackles in football. You have no wide receivers, no tight ends. You have either an old man in Peterson at running back, or you have a guy who's managed to stay healthy for all of 3 games for the Redskins. Like, there's nothing on offense. So now you're going to try and bring him in to fix the defense, but there's no money on that team to fix the defense. So what's he going to do? What's he going to really legitimately do to fix this team?
Well, you are the fan of the Skins, so you definitely are closer to it than anybody else is. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Rivera's kind of like McCarthy in a lot of ways, though. He's kind of like the experienced name that everybody's familiar with, but we don't know if he has any more in the tank. I don't know.
Okay, so we can talk about McCarthy as, stale on offense, right? Didn't want to change with the times. Rivera, the only thing he did was just go for it on fourth. Like, that's his offensive game.
Remember about Ron, man. Remember about Ron.
But you know what? It's not so easy when you don't have a 6'4", 250-pound quarterback to run for a yard. It's really not that easy to get that fourth down. Oh my God! Yeah, there's a kid we're gonna have to replace already. So again,
no, have faith.
Too soon, huh?
Have faith.
Let's not forget Peyton Manning set the record for most interceptions as a rookie quarterback of all time. Like, come on.
Peyton Manning, right? Who's that guy?
Yeah.
Come on,
Who's
man.
that guy?
Guys give up way too fast.
How many games did Peyton Manning not complete 50% in his first season? All right.
He had a bad supporting cast. It's going to get better.
All right.
Have faith.
All right.
I don't know if it can get better in the near future.
Speaking of faith, here we go. Last team here, last coach hired this week. My New York Football Giants hired Joe Judge. Yes, Joe Judge Brown. No, Joe Judge. I gave it a C because, again, we had nothing go on. Nothing go on. I mean, the only positive here I see here is he coached under Nick Saban in Alabama, and he coached under Belichick.
He didn't coach under Saban. He's
an assistant. Whatever.
He's a special team.
Whatever. He worked with Nick Saban. He worked with Bill Belichick. That's the only thing I can go on. I'm not saying that's much. So that's about it. I mean, look, I didn't want Pat Shermer when he got here. I knew it was going to be a failure, and I was right about that one. We didn't get the big names.
Were you, or did he not have anything?
Who's that?
Pat Shermer. What did you have on defense? What did you have this year at wide receiver?
They got worse. They got worse in comparison to the. He was worse than McAdoo.
Yeah, and that's not because of him. That's because of your GM.
No. I'm getting there. I think the reason why the Giants were able to bring guys like Rule or McCarthy, whatever it may be, Rivera, is because Dave Gettleman is very unlikable. No one likes the guy, and it was dangerous for the Giants to keep Dave Gettleman. I think the reason they kept him, honestly, because he had cash last year. It'll look kind of fucked up that within the year he gets fired. The Giants are the fucking Browns, dude. The Giants are the Browns. The Giants are the Cleveland Browns now. Okay. We won a Super Bowl, what?
Okay, well,
9 years ago?
When you become the Redskins, talk to me.
We're right there, too. Shit.
You ain't nowhere near as bad as this.
I don't know. We'll see. But the Giants, Joe Judge, I give it a C. Kris, what you got there?
If this ain't an F, I don't know what is. They literally lost out on the guy they wanted, and were just like, fuck it, let's go bargain basement and just find the cheapest dude. Or maybe they were like, hey, our biggest weakness is at wide receiver, so let's hire a wide receivers coach to fix our biggest hole on the team. I have no clue where the logic is. Like, I understand, hey, let's skip on the retreads. Let's go with a fresh mind. Well, there are plenty of fresh minds outside the wide receivers coach in New England. Like, that is barf. Ugh. There's nothing good you can say about this hire. There's no possible thing you can say. Even John Harbaugh was at least a special teams coordinator. Not even a coordinator. Not even a play caller. Just a guy on the side of a team that got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs this year. Not like they went to the Super Bowl and you're like, God, this is get some of this aura of greatness and bring it in. Like, I don't know.
You know the good thing.
There's no
you know what though? Real
justification
quick, you know
for
what?
that hire.
The good thing with this hire though is that the Giants suck next year. They're going to be back on Black Monday along with Dave Gettleman. He'll be done.
I'm sure they committed $0 to this move. So, I mean, that's the one positive. But I just maybe they're like, oh, the Yankees are doing good with the Judge. Why not us? Like, yeah, that could work.
The Giants
know your name in New York.
Cleveland Browns, dude. We're in a bad place, man. Zachary, Joe Judge, man, what'd you give it?
Just because we're friends, I'm gonna give it an F+. Okay. But listen, here's what it was. The Giants were sitting at home, and they're like, oh, man, no one's even going to want to talk to McCarthy. We'll be able to get him no problem. Wait, Dallas signed him? Huh? We hadn't even called him yet. Why'd he sign already? Then they're like, oh, you know who we'll get? Matt Rule. Wait, he won't even come talk to us? All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go after the guy nobody else wants. We're going to go after Judge. This way we can't lose out for a third time. That's the only reason I can comprehend as to why you would hire this guy.
You know,
when you have yet to even work with the quarterbacks. Now, I understand he played quarterback in college, he actually played in high school and then had to switch positions in college. But if you haven't even worked as a quarterback coach, there is no goddamn way I would ever hire you. Especially when I just, for back-to-back drafts, committed a top 5 pick to a running back and a quarterback.
You know what? Not to sound like a privileged Giants fan who has 4 Super Bowl championships, but I'm gonna go there. We're the New York fucking Giants, and you get Joe Judge as your coach. We're the New York fucking
you were
Giants.
better off keeping Schumer.
Honestly, I mean, yeah. On the surface, yeah. Until I see something different next year, yeah, you can say that. Dude, the Giants are the Redskins and the Browns.
Listen, right now
it's
you
so
can give
bad,
Cleveland
dude.
a better grade for not having a head coach than you can give the Giants for hiring a head coach.
It was very dangerous for them to keep Dave Hellman for this reason. Because he poisoned the well. He poisoned the well.
See, I don't buy the poisoning of the well because any guy will take that job. I guarantee you if Gettleman went to Eric Bieniemy would have taken that job in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but we know why,
because
though. Because
no one's ever going to hire him. And I'll be honest, I don't think New York Giants with their ownership, will ever hire a black guy as head coach.
No, yeah, that's a whole other issue there too that we have to. I don't know. It saddens me to hear that as a Giant fan. Makes me sometimes consider my fandom at times. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right, fuck these clowns. We're done. Teams that matter. Divisional weekend. Playoffs continue this weekend. First game, Saturday afternoon, 4:35 Eastern Standard Time. Minnesota Vikings heading to San Francisco face the Niners. The Niners, 7-point favorites. Over/under, 44.5. Kris, how you feeling about this game?
This is by far the best game of the weekend.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely. You know what's funny? Right now, if you look, they would have the AFC, whoever would win the AFC as a 3.5-point favorite to win the Super Bowl right now over the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's absurd because I think any 4 of those teams in the NFC, I thought any team outside of Philly, because they're too banged up, could realistically make it to the Super Bowl and win. I thought the NFC was that balanced that any one of those teams were talented enough to get there easily. So it shocks me. I mean, I guess everyone's all in on, Lamar and all that, which I don't really understand. But I think these are the 2 most balanced overall teams. When you're looking at offense, defense, special teams, the whole 9, coaching, these are 2 best teams left in the playoffs playing against each other, like overall. You have a great offensive mind, Kyle Shanahan against a great defensive mind, and Mike Zimmer. At the end of the day, I'll put it this way. If you're just looking at betting-wise, if you're going to bet Minnesota, you might as well skip the points and just money line them. Like, if they're going to win, they're going to win.
Yeah.
If they're going to lose, it's because Kirk Cousins, once again, has not shown up, and they're going to get the doors blown off of them.
That's Zack's boy, by the way.
So,
I'm joking, of course.
I think at this point, skip the points. They're either going to money line Minnesota to win it and get your money's worth, or you're just going to take San Fran because if they win, they're going to win huge.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Kurt, besides last week, just has never shown up. Man's 0-9 in Monday Night Football. Like, can't win a primetime game. Like, you can't put your faith in that type of player until he does it. Now, hey, he could become Joe Flacco and have that miracle fucking playoff run where, boom, all of a sudden, hey, we were all wrong. You like that? We're going to hear that fucking 18,000 times this summer if he wins it all. But
it sounds like you're saying take San Francisco if you're gonna pick San Francisco to win.
Yeah, of course. I think San Francisco's the best team left in the entire playoffs.
Okay, Zachary, what you got in this one?
I feel this is the best betting game of the weekend. For two simple facts. One, this ain't Monday night, this ain't Sunday night, and this ain't Thursday night. All right? So Kirk Cousins, he won't even understand this is a primetime game. I understand he went to college, but I don't think he'll understand this is a primetime game.
Oh,
all right? But when you look at these two defenses, how do you not pound the under? I get it, 44. Pound the under. All right? You're going to have Dalvin Cook running all game long for Minnesota because Zimmer doesn't want to put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands. The offensive coordinator doesn't want to put the ball in Cousins' hands. So you're looking at time management. Jimmy Garoppolo, he didn't do jack shit all year. You're talking about a guy you were lucky to see play average football. They were winning because of their defense, turnovers, and running game. Like, that was the only reason why San Fran was winning. So you can take Minnesota plus the points. You could be smart like Kris and take Minnesota to win the game straight up.
Just for the value alone. Just for the value alone, it's smart.
Or go the safest route ever and just bet the under. But this is my favorite betting game of the weekend.
Yeah. There's a lot of value on this game, definitely. I'm going to take San Francisco to cover this game, though, and I'll tell you why. Simply this. The emotion of the wildcard game last week in New Orleans. I mean, you think, okay, well, to beat New Orleans, to beat San Francisco, but the emotion that is probably drained out that roster now in Minnesota from last week, it can't carry over to the second week. I just think that they're going to be drained. I think San Francisco's rested. They get guys back this week. And I just think that the Niners are small blood in the water. Even though Minnesota won a big game against New Orleans, I think Minnesota put all their eggs in the basket last week, and I think San Francisco is going to see the blood in the water, and they're going to just destroy Minnesota.
Do you think they're going to have the same type of letdown like they did after the Minnesota Miracle?
Yeah, pretty much.
They laid an egg the very next week.
Absolutely. Yeah. Granted, it was
they were in that game for the first three quarters.
No, they were not. No, they were not. That second quarter, that game turned into a blowout.
No.
Yeah, second quarter. Yeah, remember that too because they scored first in the first quarter, and then after that, Philadelphia took over the game. That was it. Pick six, done. So, and granted, that was Case Keenum. I get it, but yeah. I think San Francisco going through the gauntlet. They've been playing playoff football since fucking late November. So it's not like easy schedule. No, they played Baltimore, almost beat them. They played New Orleans, beat them in that thriller. So they've been on a plane already, as it is, playing playoff caliber football. The Seattle game, Week 17. San Francisco's ready, man. I'm taking them to cover this game. I think Minnesota, the emotion last week, being drained out of them last week, all the eggs in that basket, take San Francisco to cover this game. Although I will tell you what. Although I will tell you, Zack and the under, not terrible. Not terrible.
You know what? I'm not bullish on the under because Quan Alexander's probably going to play limited snaps. D4 is going to play limited snaps. San Fran's still banged up on defense. Yeah. And I don't think the backdoor cover is possible because I think San Fran wins mightily.
Right.
But I think
30-7.
It ends up being like a 31-14 type of game.
Right, exactly. Oh, and by the way, too, also, last week's game, Saints and Vikings, relatively low scoring, relatively speaking. Went to OT. So, there you go. That's your clue. All right. The nightcap on Saturday night, it pits the Tennessee Titans. Come on, the big win against New England. Heading to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The Ravens are 9.5-point favorites. The over-under on this one is 47. I'm going to shock you guys here. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans on the points here, only because I think they'll backdoor a touchdown late. Baltimore wins this game, but Tennessee will probably keep it competitive enough to win again backdoor a late touchdown. But beyond that, that's all I got for you. Zach.
Yeah. After I just talked about how the first game is the easiest game of the weekend, I think this is the hardest game of the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Because, I think you're right. If you're going to take the points with Tennessee, it's going to be because of a backdoor score at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if Ryan Tannehill doesn't show up, it's going to be just a demolishing of the Titans. It's going to be a 35-7 or something. It is going to be really, really bad.
Yeah.
I think the only thing you can do is count on a backdoor score and bet the over in the game.
Okay. Kris?
Boy, I'm actually the only dude on planet Earth who's just not that big on the Ravens.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
I understand Lamar Jackson was the same player last year, but man, I can never get that thought out of my head of San Diego putting 6 DBs out and him just can't do anything against it. And I feel like even though nothing has worked so far, I think blueprinting in the playoffs is different. I think there's a way that they're going to keep it close. I mean, I feel like this is an easy cover for Tennessee. I think Baltimore wins the game, don't get me wrong, but I think the game's just close the whole way there. I don't think there's no backdoor. I just think it's a close one-score game throughout the entire game.
Zach, do you take the Ravens to cover the game, or do you say the backdoor cover is going to happen?
No, I worry about that backdoor cover because I have those two thoughts. Either there's the backdoor cover or Ryan Tannehill just plays like shit because he's had too many good games this season, and they just get blown out. And so I feel the safest bet for me would be taking the point, betting the points, and going the over. I'll take an over 47.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Sunday games. Houston Texans heading to Kansas City to face the Chiefs. The Chiefs, 9.5-point favorites. The over-under is 51 points. Now, Houston did win the matchup in Arrowhead this year, albeit that was in October. This is my mortgage bet, guys. I'm taking KC to win this game and win this game going away. I don't trust Houston at all. But I love Deshaun Watson, but I don't trust that team. The Jekyll and Hyde. The gang is Buffalo last week is a perfect explanation of how the Houston Texans started this year. KC is on a roll. They've actually become underrated because of the Ravens in Lamar Jackson in his MVP race and all that. MVP case, rather. I think Kansas City wins this game and wins this game going away. It's a statement game for the Chiefs. Zach, what you got?
I take the over. I want to take Kansas City to cover
this week.
I want to take Kansas City to cover. I really do.
Then do
it. But it's Deshaun Watson. There is Deshaun Watson, and he is too much of a factor for me to take Kansas City to cover. So I definitely believe both teams can put up 25-plus points, so why not take the over in the game?
You playing scared, buddy. Come on now. You better than this. Kris.
I think this under is a lock of the century.
Wow, really?
I know KC wasn't the strongest defense this year. Playoffs are different. Arrowhead's going to be freezing.
It is daytime though.
Doesn't matter. Houston looked good against a horrendous Bills offense, but J.J. Watt ain't doing that against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to put up points, and they're just going to cruise to an easy victory. And I just think Bill O'Brien's a terrible coach, and I just think he's going to get outclassed, and he's not going to put up any points. I easily see this being Yeah, I think this is a 28-10 game. Like, there's no doubt. KC scores early, gets up 21-3 at half, and then kind of just cruises in the second half, and that's it. That's the game.
All right. And finally, go ahead.
I think Andy Reid kind of hides the rest of his good stuff when he goes up. So I don't think they're going to be pushing the envelope in the second half. I think they take it easy, save all the trick plays and the good stuff. Him and Bieniemy are going to have a great little portfolio ready. I think they save it for Baltimore.
Okay.
So they kind of take it easy. They let off the gas. And I think they cruise to a relatively lower scoring game than people think.
Okay. All right, the final game on Sunday is at 6:40 p.m. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed this. They're running the same schedule on divisional weekends they do on championship weekend also, in terms of the starting times. Normally it's 1 and 4:30. Now it's 3 o'clock and 6:40. It's kind of weird. Anyway, Seattle Seahawks heading to Green Bay face the Packers. The Packers are 4-point favorites. The over/under is 47 points. This is the game of two teams that I don't believe are Super Bowl contenders, but by default, one of these two teams will be playing for a chance to go to Super Bowl next week. This game is tough, man. This game is tough. It's the toughest game to pick. Honestly, I'm going to take the over in this game at 47 because I smell a relative shootout between the two best quarterbacks in football, probably, and Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. These two teams, I don't know. These two teams kind of mirror each other to some degree. Don't trust them completely, but they got the quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks alone make you, at least gives you the edge to some degree. So I'm gonna take the over this game. My heart says Seattle steals this game, but I don't know, man. I don't trust Seattle either. So I'll take the over this game. Zach.
Didn't you just call me scared for taking overs and unders?
This is my only one I'm taking, though, dude.
That's because you don't want to have to pick between your two goats.
That's true. You're good.
Yeah.
My goat is actually is actually Russell Wilson. My goat.
Yeah, I'll take your goat plus the 4 and say they went outright.
Ooh, I like it. Go some test goals one time. Zach.
I think people are so down on Seattle's weapons. Like, their wide receivers are so much better than people give credit
No. They're solid, but can you see, let's say, give me a quarterback that's the middle of the road. Give me a middle quarterback. Can you see Andy Dalton doing this with maybe, I don't know. Russell Wilson is the fucking man.
So you want me to look at, like, the number 15 to number 20 quarterback versus maybe the number 2, number 3 quarterback in the league?
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm looking at a Green Bay team who maybe a handful of times scored over 30 points all season versus a Seattle team that was dynamic on offense almost all season long.
Mm-hmm. I'm rooting for Seattle, just for the record. But,
Then take Seattle plus the points, or take them straight up on the money line. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. You took three games with the over-under, and you called me scared.
I took 2
Fucking
games.
The
first game I told you take Minnesota plus the points. You could bet Minnesota straight up. I gave you 2 different options on that one, and I'm doing it again with Seattle. Take the points or take Seattle straight up.
I got to hear what Kris has to say about this game. This is the toughest game of the 4 to pick, to be honest with
you. Easiest game to pick. People vastly underrate how good Green Bay is right this second. You know what's funny is that they were so banged up in the middle of the season, and they got shellacked in those big marquee matchups when they were completely depleted. I mean, when they got whacked by the 49ers, they had nobody on the field. They are completely healthy. Matt LaFleur's learned how to use Aaron Jones, not only in the running game, but as a mismatch in the passing game. And not only that, he's giving him rests with Jamal Williams, and he's really utilizing both running backs to where you don't know which one's going to run and which one's going to go out and run routes. Devontae Adams has been on fire, tearing it up since he's been back from his little turf toe scare, who absolutely destroyed my fantasy football team this year, but we'll forget about that. This team is firing on all cylinders right now. Their free agency, like big spending guys like Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, they're showing out right now. That pass rush, super underrated. I think at home, they creamed Seattle. I think Seattle's injuries show up big time. I think the loss of Chris Carson does hurt. Like, yeah, sure, Marshawn Lynch is great. Within the red zone, how often are they going to really get there without a running game? Like, I think this is where it finally shows up and catches up to them. This is the game. Like, I love Russell Wilson. I've been touting him since he transferred out of NC State in Wisconsin.
Me too.
Hey, I have proof on one of our old podcasts.
Me too.
Wisconsin to win the Big Ten at that time because of him going there. He is not going to be enough to single-handedly take them past Green Bay. I think Green Bay has become that team that kind of looked like, how the hell are they even in the bye? Like, how did they even get a bye week? Like, that's the impossible. It's because they really were a good team overall, and they overcame all their injuries to get to where they are to now. And they are peaking at the right time.
Well,
take Green Bay, take 4.5. I mean, I'm sure the line's going to go down, actually.
You think go 3? You think go 3.5? Because it went down already. It was a 4.5. It opened up at.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it gets to like 3. I think.
I think 4 is going to stay at 4. I think 3 is going to be the number. I mean, I think people view the teams as equal, but you're going to give Green Bay the 3 points because they're at home. I don't think Green Bay is what it once was before, like, Mike Vick beat Brett Favre. Right.
And, like, he kind of, like, destroyed that whole aura of, like, Lambeau Field.
He destroyed it. He started it, and then Eli Manning fucking destroyed it twice.
Get the fuck out of it.
Bro, Eli Manning
always
won.
Gotta throw that shit in there.
Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls on winning Lambeau twice.
Facts are facts sometimes, Kris.
Oh, my goodness.
Both Super Bowl championships.
Eli went in there
went through Lambeau
on the road and beat him
twice.
Don't say Eli. Justin Tuck and them went into Lambeau.
Bro, I have the entire game on hard drive. I watch it once a year. I can show
that
you
that defense went to Lambeau.
No,
and won those games.
The second game was Eli. Eli torched the Packers defense in the last one, the 2011 attempt. And by the way, that team was better than the one maybe 4 years before that. They were the Packers were defending champions that year and went 15-1 the very next year. Zack, I watched that game with you, didn't I? Yeah. It was me and you and my buddy Dave. Yeah, at the rock and roll place, the blues place.
I'm right there with you, man. Aaron Rodgers has had one great playoff run. Otherwise, he's a 500 record. Give me Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and I'll be happy.
Who has better defense is the question. I think that's the edge. Because right now we're a wash of quarterbacks. I'll give you wash. Wilson, Rodgers, wash. Who has better defense too?
I mean, you're going to say that Jadeveon Clowney's the best overall player, but Green Bay has a better. Absolutely, he's the best defensive player on the field.
Jadeveon Clowney had 3 sacks all season. He's had
the QB,
one half
the pressures
season, and that was with J.J. Watt on the other side.
I know. You got to look at the total grade. He's playing the run. He's getting pressure on the quarterback. Trust me. The impact he's put on the field is very good.
Who would you rather have, Ladarius Smith or him? Because I'll take Smith.
I think Darius Smith is playing good in the system that they're in, but the Jadeveon Clowney is
good in the
otherworldly
system.
Yeah, but
Jadeveon Clowney is not otherworldly.
Yes, he is.
He's a freak, though.
9.5 sacks is the most he's ever had.
He's a freak. He's a freak in terms of what he can do, but he's a tad overrated.
He's way overrated. He doesn't have the heart to succeed in the league.
I mean, I can't you can't say he's overrated when he was traded for a third-round pick. Like, that shows where he's rated. He's rated right where he's supposed to be. Like, that's his value.
He got traded for a third because he's getting paid $20 million.
And just for this year, he's free agent.
Yeah, and then you got to sign him to a contract. Otherwise, you lose out. Teams don't give up a first-round pick for a one-year rental of a guy that they're going to pay $20 million to.
He's the best player on the field on the defensive side of the ball for both teams. But
not even close. Not even close.
Anyway, so our picks on the board. We'll see what happens this weekend. Fellas, I guess that's it.
All right, good luck, guys.
Yeah.